wrote hey, can you try not to park in front of other people's houses? It keeps it free for them and their visitors. We're live on video, Roger.
Yeah.
Is this in LA or San Francisco?
This is in LA.
Oh. You know what?
The
No, I'm
hilarious
sorry.
thing is that he is in like an area with immense number of parking spots.
You will not ever go. You will never go into parking poverty in this neighborhood.
Yeah, I'm sorry. If you do not get to claim the spot in front of your house, it's public parking. It's like
Although
street
the way
parking.
the note was written, it said if you can, try not to do that. I think that's okay.
Was it near your house?
It's next to my house.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry. That's baloney. I don't buy that. People try to pull that in my neighborhood in San Francisco, and people lose it on Nextdoor.
I don't mind. Like the person who lives behind me, when we first showed up, said, "Hey, try to keep this space clear. This is where I park because it's easier for me to bring groceries and stuff." And I was like, "Oh, okay, that's fine. If it's try to keep it clear, that's fine."
But these are the same people who complain about this stuff that have garages full of junk.
Yeah, well,
and don't park in their garage.
And my neighbor doesn't have a garage. She doesn't even have a driveway to her place. Her only way is from that parking spot. That's different than like what Roger's talking about, where it's like everyone in his
stick to
neighborhood has a
two rules of city parking. One, never block someone's driveway, or else I'm going to come at you with to the full extent of the parking law. Or two, don't park in the same spot for more than 72 hours. Like, you have to move your car. Our street is not your parking lot unless you're like going to be away and you tell. We don't have street cleaning. We don't have street cleaning.
That's to have what.
So people park in our neighborhood and leave their car there and then take an Uber to the airport.
Well, if they don't have street cleaning, man, that's a bonanza. I'd do that too.
Well, no, I park in the street because my driveway is filled with a trailer at the moment.
At the moment, yeah, that's fine.
But I mean, it's not like I leave it there all day. I drive,
Yeah.
But I just come back around to my house.
This is a weird thing. This is like a weird phenomenon I've discovered being a homeowner in San Francisco. It's like the drama, the parking drama.
Oh yeah. Well, I even had it as a renter. I know you did a little bit too.
Mm-hmm.
All right, shall we get going?
Sure.
All right, here we. Of course, I'm about to sneeze right before I want to sneeze. Here we go. Daily Tech News Show is powered by its audience, not outside organizations. To find out more, head to dailytechnewsshow.com/support. This is the Daily Tech News for Monday, December 12th, 2016. I'm Tom Merritt. Joining me, Veronica Belmont is back in the saddle again. How is your week shaping up, Veronica?
It's Monday. Too soon to say, Tom.
You're supposed to say it's a vista of opportunity and grandeur.
I don't have enough data points, Tom. Need more data.
Like a true product manager there. We don't have enough data points yet, but we're optimistic.
Mm-hmm. But the shareholders are on board. The shareholders are on board.
Oh, good. That's always a positive.
All the stakeholders. Yep.
Yeah.
That's what I meant.
We're going to talk about a couple of things. Twitch put out a new moderation tool that uses machine learning. There's an article in Bloomberg about Imzy, which is trying to create a positive community. We're going to talk about, can you actually create a troll-free social network in a little bit. But first, Instagram started rolling out live broadcasting in the U.S. to its stories function Monday. So there's something Snapchat didn't have that they added.
There you go. That's a thing.
Microsoft claims more people are switching from Mac to Surface than ever before because its trade-in program for MacBooks was its best ever. No numbers here, though. This is all just anecdotal. Now here are some more top stories. Apple's TV app is out for the iPhone, iPad, and Apple TV Monday. To get it, you need to update to iOS 10.2 or tvOS 10.1. Once you update it on Apple TV, it'll just show up where the Music app used to be. Music app gets bumped down a row. In iOS, it will replace your Videos app that you used to have. The app tracks shows you're watching, sends you into the right service to watch shows, and it can send you into the right spot on a partially watched episode and notify you when a new episode is available. Makes recommendations of what to watch, although not yet based on viewing habits, just sort of general curated recommendations. HBO and Hulu, CW all work with the new TV app. Significantly, Netflix does not. Recode's Peter Kafka does point out that Netflix works with the Xfinity X1 box guide, that lets you track your shows. So this is this crazy world where Netflix is cooperating with Comcast and not Apple on something.
I would like to be a fly on the wall for those meetings wherein they decided not to work with Apple for whatever reason, or the meetings between Netflix and Apple. It'll probably come soon, though, I would imagine.
Yeah, it seems like each one of these things needs to be negotiated. My guess is it's about access, to particular information, so you can have that deep link right into an episode and go right to where you left off and things like that. Netflix probably may be protective about some of that. They may be protective about the user recommendation part of that situation. They may be negotiating on that. I would assume Netflix wants to be a part of this. They just haven't quite got the agreement that they want.
I agree. I'm sure. Why would they not want to be a part of it, frankly?
Yeah.
Moving on, though, National Geographic's Facebook page will be the first to publish a Facebook live stream in 360 degrees on Monday. It will show the emergence of scientists from 80 days of isolation in pods at Utah's Mars Desert Research Station. Later this month, Facebook Live 360 broadcasting will become an option in the Facebook Live's API. Facebook plans to roll it out to all pages and users next year.
Okay, this is one where I'm split. I like the idea that I will have functionality, even if as a page user I have to wait till next year. That's fine. I also don't know if I'll ever make use of this. Like live streaming 360 always sounds better than it looks.
I feel like don't we know someone who shot something for them? I don't know if we're supposed to talk about that, or maybe that's something that's going to happen later. But anyway, I think I like to watch these things, but I don't know if I really need to broadcast in them. So I think that would be fun, though. I'm excited to see some of the National Geographic stuff.
Yeah, I mean, this is interesting. The scientists who are doing the Mars isolation simulation, it'll be fun to see them come out. And I guess they've come out at this point today, but I might watch that later on. Do I need to see it in 360? I mean, I don't want to trash 360 because there are definitely places where this will be useful. I just think those places are much more limited than your normal live broadcasting. I don't know that seeing scientists come out of the isolation pods benefits a lot from 360 view.
Yeah, I see what you mean. I do enjoy the photos when I see people taking photos and publishing photos in 360 or in something similar to that, the panoramic kind of views. I do really enjoy that. So maybe it'll be fun to see in video form as well.
Yeah,
I don't know.
You need to think of things where it's beneficial to see everything. Like
underwater would be cool.
Yeah, Big Jim in the chat room is like, "What? You don't want to live stream DTNS in 360?" It's like you don't really need to. Like you barely need DTNS in video at all, to be frank. You don't need to see behind me to enjoy this, but if there was a concert maybe and you wanted to have an on-stage viewpoint, or there's like the Aurora Borealis or the middle of the Grand Canyon.
Yeah, underwater.
Underwater. Yeah.
That'd be rad.
All right, Panasonic is developing a retail checkout system that will scan items as you put them in your basket and then automatically bag for you at checkout. The basket detects tags, so you're going to have to tag everything in the store. It's not quite as whiz-bang as the Amazon Go convenience store. But as you put them in the basket rings you up and tracks the item cost. And then there's a trapdoor in the basket, so that when you put it down to check out, it will open the trapdoor, pull the things out of your basket, and bag them for you. And if you haven't already guessed, this system is being tried out in public in Japan at a Lawson convenience store near the Panasonic headquarters in Osaka.
I love Lawson's.
Lawson's pretty good. I mean, I actually kind of partial to 7-Eleven in Japan. As crazy as that may sound to people in America who know 7-Eleven.
No, Lawson's is the best.
Lawson's pretty good.
7-Eleven's pretty good too.
I think this is not going to come to other Lawsons anytime soon. It's kind of an experimental thing because it's near the Panasonic headquarters. But I wish this had been there when I was in Japan, because I would have totally wanted to try this out. And
I would have gone there.
If you've never been in the Japanese convenience stores, they're small, and you just carry one of those little hand baskets. So this is perfect for that. I'm not sure it works so well in our big U.S. grocery stores with our huge carts and everything.
And our giant food and
yes.
big stuff. Ugh, we're the worst. But yes, I this is kind of like a nice to have. I don't know if it's much of a game changer. I'd rather just have the Amazon system and walk out.
Yeah,
put it in my
Amazon
own bag
system
and walk out.
Obviously has it all, right? Like I just walk around the store, grab my stuff, and walk out. This is the next step before that, though, and maybe easier to implement because you don't need as many cameras and computer vision sensors.
Think big, Tom. Just go for it.
I know.
No halfway steps.
But if I can get it, look, if Ralph's will put this in place. And it can't afford the whole Amazon Go system, I'll take this upgrade of all I have to do is put my cart down and pay and leave rather than go, we have notified an attendant to assist you because the kale didn't scan. Like, I hate that.
I'm so happy. I finally remember way back when Apple Pay first launched for like your phone and watch. And I could never get it to work. I finally have gotten it down and my life is so much better.
I use it at the dog store, the pet food store near my house all the time, and yet nowhere else that I shop generally takes it. So weird.
My Walgreens takes it now. My grocery
nice.
store takes it now. So everything, all the places I shop the most are accepting it. And it's actually been very convenient. Anyway, in a preview update, Skype Translator now supports audio translation on calls made from Skype to mobile phones and landlines. The preview is available to Windows insiders on Windows 10. Skype Translator currently supports 10 languages with real-time translation, including Arabic, Chinese, and Portuguese.
Dude, this is the universal translator is getting closer and closer.
It's the Babelfish.
Yeah. I mean, Skype Translate is a little bit like instant messaging in voice because you have to say it and then it translates and says it to the other person and then they say their thing back. So it's real time because you don't have to put it through a machine. Like it's scanning you in real time, but there's a bit of a delay, right? On the other hand, the fact that it works at all is impressive. And now I don't have to call someone on Skype to do this. I can talk to anyone on any phone line. Just I have to be on Skype. That's crazy.
What are Windows insiders?
Oh, that's the beta program. Anybody can sign up for that. And then you're a Windows insider and you can get the builds, like the Windows Creators Update. You can get the builds of those as they come. It's essentially just beta testing stuff.
Cool.
In the journal Science, scientists describe how they have mixed the highly viscoelastic polymers that you call silly putty with graphene to make a composite material that makes an excellent heart monitor, among other things. Silly putty's rate of flow varies based on force, not temperature, if you've never played with it before. That's why those of you who have played with it before know that it can bounce from a low height, but shatters with a sharp blow, like if you throw it 90 miles an hour against the garage door. Well, not.
I didn't know it shatters.
Yeah.
Wow.
If you hit it with a hammer, it'll shatter. That sensitivity, though, combined with graphene's conductivity, can make a very sensitive sensor, these scientists have found out. Just a bit of this material, the composite material in a person's throat, right by the carotid artery, can measure heart rate and blood pressure. And the scientists in their paper in Science say it can even detect the impact of the footsteps of a small spider.
At your throat.
Well, or not, either way.
Oh, those are two separate sentences.
Those are two separate things, yeah. Although they could be combined, I'm certain.
Silly putty is an amazing scientific breakthrough.
I mean, just the idea that you can track spider footsteps with silly putty.
So basically I read another article on this and they're saying that they can really start to use it in fitness trackers and health trackers and wearable devices. So this is could be the next interesting step in that space.
Oh,
and
yeah,
it's silly putty.
There's a lot of people who make big criticisms of fitness trackers because the heart rate monitor is not very accurate. Mm-hmm. And most people say, it's accurate enough for me to tell, like, was my heart rate way up or way down. But if you want to use it in medical situations, it may not be accurate enough, for a doctor to make a good recommendation. This kind of sensitivity could change that. And like you say, it's silly putty.
And that's fun. And we like that.
You can also open up your tracker and copy comics out of the newspaper with it.
Perfect. God, that was so cool. It does start to get a little like brown and gross after a while. Like there's nothing better than a fresh tub of silly putty.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, a study published Friday in the journal Science found that M-Pesa helped 2% of Kenyan households out of poverty between 2008 and 2014. M-Pesa lets users send and receive money through their mobile phones. The study also credits M-Pesa with making the Kenyan economy more efficient. Kenya is expected to finish 2016 with 6% growth. Safaricom reported half-year profits of 23.9 billion Kenyan shillings, or about 234 million US dollars, and about 25% of total revenue came from M-Pesa.
Yeah, M-Pesa is the poster child for this. There's like 92 other mobile payments like this in operation on the continent of Africa, but they all have similar situations where you don't have to have a bank account. You can actually store money on it and send and receive money very, very easily, and it works with feature phones. So you don't. This is not a smartphone app,
Right.
although it also has smartphone apps. So it's very accessible to people with small amounts of money who might not be able to get loans, who might not be able to get bank accounts, who might not be near services. But if they can charge their phone up, at the convenience store, they can save, withdraw, and deposit money on their phone, and it's been a revolution. And there's all kinds of things in this Fortune article about it, talking about how it's raised some business owners to become business owners and things like that. So when you hear about the mobile revolution in developing countries, this is one of the first things you'll hear people talking about.
That's really great. I love that. That's the way technology is helping people, and that makes me really excited.
Yeah, and it's, the other thing that's really interesting about this is it's a native company, Safaricom, a telco, which often don't have very good reputations for helping people around the world, and a native app with M-Pesa. It's not something that was started in Silicon Valley and then ported over there because it was popular in San Francisco. This is a very Kenyan situation. Thanks to everybody who participates in our subreddit. You can submit stories and vote on them at dailytechnewsshow.reddit.com. All right. Bloomberg has an article about Imzy, and Twitch introduced a new moderation tool. The Twitch moderation tool that launched on Monday is called AutoMod. It uses machine learning to block inappropriate content and sends it to a human moderator for review. And you, as the streamer, can set how strict you want it to be when it's filtering. It's another way of trying to help people keep their chat communities enjoyable for everyone. Bloomberg has that article about Imzy. Imzy is a site of former Reddit employees and founders of the Reddit gift subreddit. Dan McComas and Jessica Moreno, who are the founders of Imzy, started the site with the idea of stopping trolls. So there are barriers to joining a community that discourages swarming and malicious off-topic posts and such. Community leaders can disallow anonymity, establish rules of decorum, and ban members who violate them. On the other end of the scale, in the Bloomberg article, they talk about Vote, started by Atif Kolo and Justin Chastain, who believe that people should be able to say or see anything as long as it's legal under U.S. law. But there is the problem of, okay, when you can see or say anything, some people may not want to be part of that community. So is it possible to make a social network without trolls? Is the right thing to do to just open up the doors and let it work itself out and say, well, you just don't go into that community if it bothers you? Or is the right thing to say, hey, we need to manage it? We need to put up some barriers. We need to keep it where only the people really interested in interacting in this community can get together.
I think we kind of talked about this a little bit maybe last week, but I think that there has been a lot of discussion about, particularly around Twitter, and whether it's a media site, a media company, or a platform, and what that kind of means. Do they have any kind of responsibility for the content that exists or is published on the site? I think that it's interesting now that we're seeing a lot of new alternatives to sites like Reddit, Gab, for example, which is the I don't say alt-right, I'll just say neo-Nazi version of Twitter. That's supposed to be like a place where they can share their quote-unquote ideas without fear of retribution or being kicked off the site. And I think laying ground rules early on in the creation of your social network is really important. And I think part of the reason why Reddit and people who used to use Reddit very frequently feel kind of bummed out in a lot of ways. And that goes for the people who want to have complete freedom of speech and the people who just want to have a fun place to be able to share stories and talk to their friends. Because now they don't really know what Reddit is for, and they don't really feel like they have the freedom to say the things they want or the protections to be protected from things that they don't necessarily want to see or be around. So I think having that moderation on the ground floor and really having an idea of what kind of site or service you want to be like when you go out into the public is probably the most key thing that you can do now.
Yeah, I think, first of all, the idea of one man's troll is another man's jokester, right? That's 4chan in a nutshell right there. Most people going into 4chan without any experience would be appalled by a lot of the behavior, but people who lived in and breathed 4chan for years understood the code. They understood the subculture and said, well, no, that's not trolling. That's just what we do. But that over there, that is trolling. And so that's one of the difficulties is troll gets bandied about, like calling someone a communist. It doesn't mean there aren't communists, and it doesn't mean there aren't trolls, but what actually is trolling has to be defined. And I think that plays exactly into what you're talking about, which is in a community, the community decides what behavior is acceptable and what isn't. So creating a place like Imzy that says, hey, this is the kind of community we're going to have, and if you want to be a member of it with these rules and this moderation, that's fine. Any community that is unmoderated is going to drift into anarchy because anybody can jump in and start causing trouble with no consequences. And that's what I've found at subbrilliant.com in the 90s, at techtv.com in the early 2000s, at CNET in the mid 2000s, at Twit, and now in Diamond Club is when you have a community that cares and has the ability to moderate itself, you tend to get a better community, a more healthy community. And we were talking in the Slack before the show, a bunch of us, about the fact that there has to be a reason why everybody's coming together, and that reason, if it's not necessarily combative, makes it a better place because everyone says, well, you know what, we're here to talk about, in this case, Daily Tech News Show, or we're here to talk about Night Attack, and we know what that culture is. Whereas if it's Twitter, what's the topic? What's off? Yeah. Nothing's off topic. In Twitter,
same with Reddit. I mean, even in the subreddits, there's still different kinds of conversations happening within the same subreddits, and you get a sense of what's going to be happening within that subreddit, but it can veer into weird places sometimes. But I think Reddit has an especially hard time because there is like a super hardcore element to it, but also forums that are about cute puppies or about, therapy or about all sorts of different topics. So you have just such a broad range of different kinds of people, but the same set of guidelines. I mean, each subreddit still has its own rules and regulations. But I don't really know actually what the level of moderation that the people in the subreddits can do. If it's like full, can they ban people from the subreddits? Probably.
Yeah. In fact, sometimes there's bans that happen with people not understanding why.
Right.
And
that's
it
another
usually
big
involves
problem.
spam, right?
Yeah.
So Reddit is actually harder on spam than other things. And that's because it's easier to define what spam is than it is to define what trolling is. Because, like I said, trolling in one subreddit may not be considered trolling in another subreddit. It's all acceptable behavior. And now that you're saying it, I think one of the challenges of Reddit is it's seen as a place itself. Right? So if I create the, fuzzy knitted kittens subreddit, the folks from fuzzy knitted dogs subreddit can easily pop over and start messing with me because they like dogs instead of kittens. Right. Whereas if I'm in Facebook, which is the same thing, it's a site like Reddit with lots of different communities, there are more barriers in place. And I think that's what Imzy is trying to go for, like making it hard for the people in one community to just wash over into another community.
And I think they've empowered their moderators a lot more. But I think, as long as the communication is happening and the users know what is expected of them, I think that's a pretty powerful motivator to keep things in a good place.
Yeah, Stark Squirrel in our chat says, I like the Reddit model of allowing groups to moderate themselves. It does seem, though, that there's disagreement about what tools should be allowed and what banning should happen. So, and I think Twitter is the most difficult proposition because it's just a platform for broadcasting short messages, and it could be anywhere on the internet, conceivably. Anybody could post a 140-character message anywhere on the internet. It's not hard to create, but no one would see it. The reason people see it is because it's on Twitter. So they've created this kind of strange attractor of content, and they don't want to ruin it by dividing it up. But it's also causing people to say, hey, I don't like that there's no community spirit on Twitter. There's nothing to say like you're violating the intent of this community.
Mm-hmm. Right. And that's a huge problem for them.
Yeah. And it's also, I mean, Twitter is not as open as email or something like that, right? So, you know, if it was all direct messages, it might be different. But it is closed enough that it's like, hey, Twitter posts only appear on Twitter in this one site. Everybody can see them, but you have to go there to see them.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. I mean, you can embed them places or whatever.
Yeah, that's true.
Screenshot,
spread around.
Yeah.
So it feels like what we're saying is, yes, it's possible to make a social network without trolls if you limit it enough. And the big question is, how do you limit it, and who does the limiting? And to me,
check out Imzy.
Yeah, any community can decide to do the limiting if it wants to. My question then becomes, okay, if I go to Imzy to start my community and they have policies in place, am I worried that their policies will get more restrictive over time to where I say, well, it was just the right amount of restriction at the beginning, but now it's not? Like, I'm a big believer that you as a community should decide what the restrictions are. And that is the beauty of Reddit. But Reddit has this thin wall problem where they haven't given people the ability to isolate their communities, or some communities just haven't been very good at moderating. I mean, I think we need to say that too. Not all moderators are equally talented at moderating. It's a skill. Right.
That's absolutely true. We've been very fortunate to have great moderators in all the communities we've kind of been a part of throughout the years, and including ourselves. You know, just being present for a lot of those things. But yeah, not everybody is so lucky.
Yeah. All right, let's get to our message of the day, which comes from Carl Cornell, who has a blog now at carl.cornell.us. Carl says, in yesterday's episode, you mentioned a tech museum in San Jose in the context of Silicon Valley tourism. I wanted to let everyone know that there are 3. The Computer History Museum is in Mountain View and has been brought up several times on the show. There's also the Tech Museum of Innovation in San Jose across from the Convention Center. And Intel even has their own museum, part of their campus in Santa Clara. Listeners can find more info using the links that I'll put in the show notes. By the way, I think I know where all of those tourists end up going when they're done looking at the outside of corporate buildings. Peter Wells and I were talking on day 6 about tourists coming and then just visiting the outside of campuses. Like, there's the Google campus, there's the Netflix campus. He says, I'm part of Stanford Research Computing. I regularly hear faculty and staff complaining about tourists standing outside their windows and taking pictures of them doing their research. It's fine with me if you want to come and walk around, but please don't feed or agitate the faculty.
That's so weird.
Yeah. It's crazy. Yeah. And honestly, I think I sometimes confuse the Computer History Museum and the Tech Museum of Innovation, because I've been to both. Mm-hmm. And I think sometimes I just fall into the habit of using the Computer History Museum as a shortcut for both of them. But I didn't realize that Intel had its own museum that you could come to in Santa Clara. I'm going to have to hit that up next time.
Yeah. I don't think I knew that either.
Well, thank you, Carl, for sending that along. Computerhistory.org, thetech.org for the Intel Museum. Tech is for the Museum of Innovation, and Intel.com, of course, has its own page for the Intel Museum. Thanks again. And thanks to everybody in chat, in email, and in our Slack for your views on community moderation. We'll keep that conversation going. Thank you, Veronica Belmont. What you got going on?
Nothing much. Just getting ready for the holidays. Swordandlaser.com, grobot.io, veronicabelmont.com are the places you'll find my stuff.
Go find them. We're in the midst of recording our special episodes. Yesterday we did our predictions results episode. That'll be showing up at the end of the year, so keep an eye out for that, the last week of December. Veronica is on that predictions results episode yesterday, so thank you again for getting up at 9 in the morning to do that.
Oh, dude. By the way. Brutal.
Thanks to everybody who supports this show, dailytechnewsshow.com/support. That includes all our patrons, including Chris Smith, Robert Monty, Mahathir Almashore, and Russ Pitts.
Russ Pitts.
Yeah. Russ Pitts even gets in on the action. Thank you, Russ. And folks like Ian Adkins, Keelan Jacobson, and Paul Malangoski, who raised their Patreon pledges. You can support us in lots of ways. Chris supported us on PayPal. Thank you very much, Chris. But you can also support us at patreon.com/DTNS. And I got a really nice note, and I get these from time to time, from someone who had to stop their pledge and explain that they were in some financial straits. If you're in hard financial times, don't feel bad. There's plenty of other people to pick you up. My thought is, if a couple of bucks a month isn't going to make a big difference to you and you enjoy the show, we'd love to have that couple of bucks, because enough of you doing it makes it possible for us to do the show. I've been in that situation where a couple of bucks a month makes all the difference in whether you get to buy Carl Buddig meats or actual meat when you go to the grocery store. If you're in that situation, that's okay. You don't need to support us that way. There's tons of other ways to support us. And those of you who can't afford the couple bucks, pick up those people so they don't have to eat Carl Buddig meats. Our email address is feedback@dailytechnewsshow.com. We're live Monday through Friday, 4:30 p.m. Eastern at alphageekradio.com and diamondclub.tv. And our website is dailytechnewsshow.com. Back tomorrow with Patrick Beja. Talk to you then.
This show is part of the Frog Pants Network. Get more at frogpants.com.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.
Boom. Tight show.
Tight show.
Nice and tight. What should we call this? If you were to name this show, but one name, would you call it The Kale Didn't Scan?
Just troll with it.
Or would you just troll with it?
I like just troll with it. But silly Putty, not so silly. It's still silly. It's just silly cool.
What's Veronica's law? Is that my parking law?
Maybe.
I don't think that was in the main show.
A tisket, an automatic basket. Science gets silly Putty. 360 degrees of Merritt.
Yeah.
They should just call it.
Get silly Putty actually too.
You should call it Merritt 360, like Anderson Cooper. I don't know why they have that. Non-Newtonian fitness.
Non-Newtonian fitness. Yeah, because it's non-Newtonian. It's a non-Newtonian fluid, or yeah, okay.
M-Pesa means Mas Pesos. I understand, but that might be kind of weird.
Yeah, because it's not being used in Mexico or Spain.
Right.
Bless you.
Ask not for whom the bell tolls; it trolls for whom the bell trolls.
Yeah. Bring up trolls on a show. We'll get that title.
Troll World, live without limits. That's pretty funny.
One mod to rule them all. They see me trolling. They banning.
Bow to our basket overlords. Baskruption.
Just troll with it is fine.
Yeah, just troll with it.
You like that? All right.
That's fine.
Stick a 20-inch rim on it.
Just troll with it.
Day.
Troll with it, baby.
Oh, I'll need...
That new house, Roger Chang.
Yes, it's new to me. It's been around for a while. It was built before I was born.
I'm living in a house that was built before I was born, too. Most houses were built before Veronica was born.
I'm old.
I'm old. Your house was built before you were born, right, Veronica?
Oh, my house was built in 1910.
It's Edwardian.
Ooh, that means it came 4 years after the Great Earthquake.
Well, my house was built, the foundation was built in 1910.
Mm-hmm.
The house has been redone a few
Sure.
times, but it still has the original foundation.
Huh. Is it raised or is it... I won't go into it. Or
No,
slab.
it's not.
So it's not a raised foundation, it's a slab.
It's built into a hill.
It's actually bedrock. They carved it out of...
That is literally
crust of the
true.
earth.
That is actually true.
It's actually really smart in San Francisco to do it that way, I think.
Yeah, we don't feel any
pretty solid.
little earthquakes. We don't feel at all.
Yeah.
And we've got these huge like redwood beams that are just like, they don't make them like they used to, guys. These
Yeah.
redwood beams are insane.
Because redwoods are expensive. They chopped them all down back in the 1900s.
I built my house with it.
Well, you know what's great about redwood is they're incredibly fire resistant. It's like oak.
I believe they're termite resistant too.
Well, they're super dense. Yeah, they won't.
Yeah.
You would need the stomach of a hyena to eat through it.
So
Good
they're
thing-
not hyena
They're
resistant.
not hyena resistant, which is
Hyenas can eat. It turns out hyenas can eat some pretty crusty stuff because their stomach and acids they
believe it.
have.
Is this the cause of the great hyena influx in San Francisco right now?
Yes.
Maybe, I don't know. If you call coyotes dingo or
They're not.
hyenas,
They're pretending to be coyotes. Then they start eating your redwoods, and you're like, wait a minute.
that's
Those
my
are
tree.
hyenas.
Yay, people are still finding my geocache. That makes me happy.
Oh, really?
Wait,
Yeah.
which one is that? The one you set while we were at?
Yes. Yeah, not the. Remember that one we found in the drain that time?
Yes,
I'd
that
like
woman
pull it
asked
up.
us what we were doing.
I was like, nothing.
Hiding
Go away.
drugs.
Go away, Muggle.
You better not be geocaching. We're just hiding drugs. Okay. If I find out you were geocaching, though.
I'm gonna steal your cash. No.
I don't think I would geocache anything. I would probably put an emergency kit together for the future. Space
go.
blankets, space food.
All right, I guess I'll go to
They dug
work.
up a time capsule somewhere recently, and it had all biodegraded. Like, there was just nothing in it.
Did they get
Sludge.
everything at Whole Foods?
I think it predated Whole Foods. It was from the 1800s. All right, Veronica.
I'll see you guys later.
Right.
Bye.
Bye.
Well, it's probably because they didn't seal it. They didn't vacuum seal it.
No, yeah. It's probably full of Confederate money. That's what most of them from the 1800s have, the late 1800s.
Yeah, but couldn't you just trade that a 1-for-1 at least as a souvenir, or would you not even get that?
Not if it biodegraded into dirt.
Made out of cotton paper.
Yeah, you could wear it. Like a shirt. I remember getting Confederate money from the souvenir shop in Kentucky when I was a kid, and my sister convincing me it was real, even though it was totally reprints. She's like, no, those are real.
I used to wonder about those coins, commemorative coins used to sell in TV and magazines. Say, so can I just go to a store and use this silver eagle with, whatever?
Yeah, the silver dollars, the commemorative silver dollars. Yeah. Like, hey, it's a dollar, right?
Is it? I mean, can you? Can I just go in and...
No, I don't know if those are official U.S. currency or not.
Well, nowhere does it say this is
I don't think they
legal
were.
tender.
It must say this is legal tender for all debts, public and private, right?
Or something.
I don't know. It doesn't say that on the penny, though.
I mean, it's done by Mint, but it's not authorized by the Treasury. So
Well, it's by the Franklin Mint. Yeah, it's the same mint as the Treasury uses, not necessarily by order of the Treasury. Those are two different things. They also make nice plates.
I never understood those plates growing up. Now that I've met more Midwestern white people, I understand. But
my parents got me one, and I don't want to sound unappreciative. It was very sweet of them. It was a Russian Franklin Mint plate, and I kept it around for years because they bought it for me, and it was expensive, and I never got it either. I'll be honest. And I am one of those white people from the Midwest, and I still didn't understand. I'm like, okay. I mean, I guess
commemorative plates. I didn't understand. Like, so you're not supposed to eat off it?
Yeah, you're supposed to put it up on the wall. But
so why don't you just make a wall thingy?
Because it's a plate. I don't know. I don't get it either. I mean, I get it in so much as like, hey, not every piece of art has to be a flat painting.
Oh
right?
yeah, I
you
totally
can have
get
sculpture, and like, why not make a plate that you paint on and turn that into sculpture? But I don't understand how that got so popular. I'd understand it more if it was just a quirky thing that occasionally you found, but it became this huge industry.
And then what's even worse is you can't even eat off of it, even if you wanted to, because they're often colored with, at least back when they were popular, with lead-based paints and inks.
Waffleophagus asks a very good question. He said, "Have you posted the topics for your underrated stories episode?" He says, "Because if you do, I want to email in on a topic." And I told him in chat too. We're just using the emails. So if you email us on a topic, we are not guaranteed to use all the emails, but we will use emails for topics. We're not picking topics and then asking for emails. Maybe that would be a better, smarter way to do it, and we'd get more emails. But we've gotten lots of emails, so we're just going to go through all of those and select some topics to talk about. So I would encourage Waffleophagus and anybody else who has a topic they'd like to weigh in on to just email us.
Even if the email is, why is it totally not underrated and doesn't get deserved?
What?
Why it is totally... Oh, I'm sorry. I'm reading Waffleophagus's...
He says, even if the email is why it is totally not underrated and doesn't deserve headlines. Oh, okay. No. In that case, that we would not use that on underrated, because that would be arguing that it shouldn't be in the show and it wouldn't make it into the show. So I see why he's asking. He's like, if you're going to talk about this, I want an email that says it's not underrated. Anyway. I get it. And no, we don't have topics. You can just email after that show is done, because we haven't actually selected the emails yet. He wants to dispute something that we haven't picked as a topic. I don't think we got any emails about that being underrated. The thing he's saying in chat, which is the GM Volt.
Painting
Now I lost my place. Where am I supposed to do next? Oh yeah, upload the actual show. Is that the whole show? I should check.
Interesting. No, sorry, I got sidetracked.
Oh, that's the wrong one. Be back live starting in January. Yep, that's not the right one. I'm glad I checked. Okay, so that's moved to trash. So I imported the wrong thing.
Oh no.
That's all right. Just means I have to start over. But I'm glad I checked it before I posted, or I would have accidentally posted the predictions results show.
Hummel pictures. What are Hummel pictures?
Hummels? You don't know Hummels? Look up Hummels. They're another collectible.
Okay, I've seen these. Oh wait, this is the footballer. Wrong Hummel.
Thanks, Sebgons. Good to see you.
I'll be honest. I always see these at swap meets and.
Oh, so you know Hummels then. That's another one that got big.
I also see a lot of rifle.
Precious moments.
Ant in Alabama collected zones of Hummel plates. Zillions. I want to see zillion as a monetary unit offered on a lottery winning. You win 10 zillion.
My mom started to get into one of them, and I can't remember now if it was Hummels or Precious Moments. I think it might have been Precious Moments. She was into miniatures. She liked miniatures. In fact, my grandma was into miniatures too. My grandma Roxy collected salt and pepper shakers.
Yeah, I know people who do that. I knew who was the EP for Screensavers and Call for Help? Renee. Remember Renee Aricchio?
Oh yeah, I remember Renee.
She was a fan of the snow globes.
Oh yeah, I had a friend who collected snow globes until she got so many of them, she had to like go on a campaign to tell people stop buying me snow globes, and then she got rid of all her snow globes. She got overwhelmed. She got snowed under.
She got snowed under by snow globes.
Yeah.
That's a lot of water. I mean, those things are heavy.
Yeah.
Like
it was
one
of those
is
things
okay.
where she lost a bunch of things in moves except the snow globes, and then she started getting angry. I think she's like, "How did I lose these books that I really loved, and then I've got all these crazy snow globes?"
Collected KKK art. That's kind of weird.
People collect all kinds of crazy things.
It's true. I used to collect computers that I wanted.
My parents
then I got
collected matchbooks. You collected computers that you wanted, or are you just saying you
Yeah.
bought computers? That
No,
you
no.
wanted?
Like I would after 10 or 12 years after.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I bought like a Laser 128. I had the C64.
You were starting your own computer museum.
Yeah. Then it just realized it's just bulky and they take up
They
space.
take up a lot of space. I have a TI-99 and a Commodore 64, plus most of the computers I've ever owned, and they take up a lot of space.
Now I'm going to be a hipster and just say I collect unique experiences. Isn't that a thing? I collect experiences.
I collect experience points. I only take memories with me.
Like, what was that?
I leave only footprints and take only memories.
I remember someone. They didn't. They kind of. I guess it's collecting, but they would always like photograph themselves in the Capitol, whatever country they visited. They would take a photo of themselves in front of the Capitol or whatever whatever the equivalent of the White
That's
House.
just called being a tourist.
Yeah. No, but I mean, like, it's always the same, but technically they're collecting those moments.
Collecting the pictures of themselves. Yeah, I get it. I had a friend who took a picture of his feet everywhere he went.
Oh, I did that. I felt like an idiot later because Ken Marcus put.
Actually, I don't. Were you that friend? I thought it was someone
Maybe
else.
I had a couple on my desk, and then Ken Marcus put his picture of his feet on there. It's like, why? It made no sense. So
I like that. There was that viral thing that went around several years back of a guy who took a picture of himself every day and then turned it into an animation over the course of a couple of years. Might have just been 1 year. I don't know.
Well, I'm guilty of collecting data now. Like, that's my thing. Like, if I see a web page or an image of something really funny or interesting, I just save it.
You'll save it.
And
you're a digital hoarder.
Yeah. I am literally the guy who Seagate or Western Digital or Hitachi or Samsung have in mind when they come out with these like 8 terabyte consumer level storage drives.
Definitely.
Like, I go back and I have crap from like college. It's like, why did I write this?
Well, you're especially feeling that right now because you moved.
Yeah.
And you're seeing all of this stuff. You're like, wait, why do I still have this? I know that feeling.
That'll be. I mean, if you think about it, if you had the ability to collect whatever you wanted, and space was never an issue. For example, if you collected shoes or cars, like Jay Leno, and you had the ability to store it in one spot, that would always have enough room for it, like a TARDIS.
Uh-huh.
More people would be collectors. They would be more hoarders.
I don't know. Some people just don't like having things as much as others.
Well, do they not like having things because it's a hassle to move around? But if you take away that hassle, if it's no longer a burden to...
I don't know. That's what I'm saying. I don't think the only reason people don't like having things more than others is storage. I think some people they just like, I just don't care about having that stuff. Like, I don't understand people who don't keep books, but there are people who are like, no, I don't want any books. And sometimes it's because of space, but sometimes it's like, yeah, once I'm done with the book, I don't need it anymore. So I'm curious, actually. It's a really good question. If people had infinite storage of physical objects, what kinds of people would collect things and what kinds of people would not? It's not just space, it's also management.
Well, yeah.
It takes up space in your head to think about having those things.
But think about the spin-off cottage industry you could have and how you can employ.
Here's a thought. If you had a transporter, if we had transporter technology, would you need to own things or could you share access to physical objects?
That would be, I would totally do that.
So like you wouldn't need to own a Commodore 64. You would just have access to a Commodore 64. And if you wanted to look at it, you press transport, and wherever it's centrally stored, it transports to you and you can pull it out and play with it. And then when you're done, you send it back by transporter.
Yeah. That'd be great. I mean, that would work for me. Some people just love the whole ownership aspect.
Yeah. It's thing sharing. Maybe there's a startup in there even without transportation by using shipping. Amazon
thing sharing. I like that idea.
Yeah.
Because
like,
people
I don't want to buy this and I don't want to go into an auction for it. I just want access. I just want to be able to check it out like a library.
Like
Shane says we do have that kind of rental, sort of, but there's not a service that's just like, hey, here's a bunch of things. And you can just like, it's like eBay, and we just have it all in a warehouse, and you can have it sent to you temporarily. And then, you know, you pay a monthly fee to have access.
Well, yeah, you pay like a subscription fee, and you get this this wonderful access to whatever, like Shane's wonderful weird emporium, and you get access to anything, and you can. It's like a lending library. You get to hold on to it for like a couple of weeks. You can return it, or you can renew your lending out.
It's for the kind of things. It's not for use. There, we have rental for tools and stuff that you need, but it's for useless stuff.
Like, do you have an 80s party? Like, I could totally see it for parties and events.
Yeah, it's a nostalgia play. Totally. Shane's saying in all caps, I must build this emporium.
Can you imagine? That would be great. It'd be like a bunch of cardboard standees from like the 80s for movies and stuff.
All right, JT0's got a link here called fluidmarket.com. What is this? Is this our thing? Fluid is a community sharing app that allows neighbors and peers to rent the things they don't use every day to each other. That's pretty close. So it's actually one step beyond. Instead of a central warehouse, this is the distributed version.
Yeah.
Like I've got stuff, and if you want to borrow it, you can. But this is more useful stuff. The pitch is like, a backpacking tent, a power washer, the Vive virtual reality, HTC Vive. That's interesting though. Yeah.
Total earnings. I totally have stuff people could borrow. I have a bunch of DVDs I never watch anymore. I have a bunch of, what do I have? Yeah, I dumped a bunch of stuff too. Sucks.
Yeah, Tinvec's saying it's kind of like the clothing services like Stitch Fix or Mr. Collection, where you pay to have stuff sent to you, and if you keep it, they charge you for it. But if you don't keep it, you send it back. This is interesting. All right. We're going to go work on our pitch to the VCs for that. And in the meantime, you all have a lovely day, and we'll see you tomorrow. Goodbye.